thing. Keanu Reeves. No disrespect to the actor or anything, but Keanu Reeves does not play other roles. Other roles play him.
Like,
He's like an international version of Salman Khan, except he's a really nice person.
Have you guys ever wondered what would happen if at the end of the Cyberpunk 2077 cinematic, instead of Keanu Reeves, a drunk Keanu Reeves came up and was like, "Hey guys,
You're awesome."
He's
we're
wasted
city to burn."
Crunchy himself has given up hope on everything.
That's Udit right now. Okay, that's the only reason I said. He's like different variations of Keanu Reeves over time. This is drunk Keanu Reeves impersonation.
He's more of John Wick.
Yeah, drunk John Wick. Whatever. John Wick is technically Keanu Reeves. So what, man? he plays the same character everywhere. Okay, he just talks very slow.
Actually, all the movies have been tailored to be Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Keanu Reeves. No disrespect to the actor or anything, but Keanu Reeves does not play other roles. Other roles play him.
Like,
He's like an international version of Salman Khan, except he's a really nice person. And he can get away with it.
Anyway, welcome guys. Welcome to the 12th episode of the Bongshot podcast. Joining me is Udit. He's, like I said, drunk Keanu Reeves because yesterday was Diwali.
Not ready for this. I'm gonna do my best.
He's
to not
wasted,
sound-
but he told me personally that he will try to fake it. So, like all relationships go, I will trust him with this. And joining us as well today
That
is...
right up with a personal attack.
Yeah, see, it's like inside jokes still now. Like 1-2 months in, that's when we like properly make it public. And joining us is also Vaibhav from he's the CEO and founder of UnderDOGS gaming studio. He has it's not just a studio, he has a YouTube channel as well where he puts up he does his own podcast. He has his own set of game development videos that he keeps churning out every now and then. And yeah, all of that. And as you guys can hear, we are now on Spotify as well as YouTube. So if you guys want to check us out there, check us out there. This is the best gaming podcast in the country. That's the game development podcast Vaibhav has, just saying. So casual gaming mein, this is the best one. Anyway,
I wanted to start before. Why
you don't
not?
have to do that. You don't have to do that.
I'm just like, I'm just carving my niche. So my target audience is set.
Vaibhav, before we start, like, did you steal Edith glasses from like Tom Holland or something?
Dude, I got the glasses. I was doing a live stream and people started spamming same things on the live stream. And then I realized that I fucked up.
No, it's not a fuck up. It's like a nice thing. You have to breathe things out. Okay.
Because then I started seeing the same glasses on all the YouTube videos and live streams.
Props to you for being ahead of the curve, though.
Nice.
I was rather behind everybody. I was not watching other people stream at that time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought this.
It's fine. It just means you have nice taste. Yeah. Anyway, Vaibhav, please tell us about the games that you've made and a little bit about your studio and just how you got into game development, just all of that. And since Udit is the resident game developer of this podcast, he can interrogate you nicely on his wasted way. So yeah. So yeah, tell us.
Yeah. So back in 2001, right? 2001, there were hardly any companies that were making games. Like India Games was huge at that time. Nazara was doing Symbian phones, smaller games. But Nazara was not like very cool kind of a setup. It was a more corporate, vast kind of a business at that time. But no other companies were really heard by people. And I was playing games at that time. I had a black and white PC. Wanted to always go into art. So there's a huge art college in
What
Mumbai.
PC did you mention?
This was, I am very like, this was 486 black and white with 8 MB RAM
Black and
and
white
one
PC. I thought
1
I heard
GB.
it wrong initially. I was like, I've never seen a black and white PC.
Which generation are you from, Aman?
I haven't seen a black. My first PC that I saw, fortunately, came with Pentium 3, I believe.
3?
Oh no, just before Pentium 3. There was something before Pentium 3. It
This
wasn't
was
Pentium 2.
Yeah, no. So Pentium, before Pentium, it was 386, 486, and then Pentium. So mine was 486.
Aman,
Right.
you sweet summer child. Life was very tough once upon a
I'm
time.
young. Can't
And
help
then
it.
I had that motherboard on which I used to see the RAM. It was 8 MB RAM, and I had a hard disk of 1 GB. That is it. And I used to play all these, Dangerous Day, Prince of Persia, the 60 minutes game, the very first one.
That PC was expensive too, I think.
Yeah. So my father got it from a friend of his who was not using it anymore.
Oh.
And it had Windows 95 on it, by the way.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it was that generation.
I know Windows 95.
So I used to play those games, and then eventually I always wanted to get into art. So there's a huge college in Mumbai which is JJ Arts. I got an admission in JJ, but then my the family pressure and everything got me out of it because my elder brother is an engineer. So they forced me into engineering. But the whole 6 years of engineering, I just played games, built skills on how to get into the gaming industry and all that shit. 2007 was my last engineering exam, and at that time I just saw an article where India Games was hiring people and trainees. Right, so I gave an interview which was very shit. Like the interview was so bad. I still remember what I told those guys. They asked me about game design, and I started talking about game art, animation, and all that stuff. But they gave me an opportunity, got a job over there, and then it started. So I completed my computer engineering, but I never did anything from my engineering as a profession, as a job. So I started writing games in 2007 itself. So I used to work for India Games. Then I
What was
switched
your
to
first job in game development? Like, what did you do? Art side then?
No, I didn't do art. I learned art. I self-learned art so that one day I could use that skills as a game artist. Because till 2007, I never heard of a term called as game designer. I had no idea that game designers existed. When I gave an interview to India Games, they got me in, and on first day I understood that that my job is not about making artwork, but it's about writing games.
Right.
Designing.
On that note, right? Because it was a very strange thing. Because when the game industry started, it was mostly programmers collaborating with artists, and that's how it went. And eventually, a middle line was drawn where game designers became a very prominent thing. What kind of the mind shift did you think it required for you to go into the role of game design? Because there is still a lot of confusion for most people as to what actually constitutes a game designer, right? Because people know what an artist does, people know what a programmer does, but a game designer is a little more vague term. I see my
Yeah, so this is the thing that you're mentioning, right? I think it's today's situation. But in 2007, the people who were interested in getting into games, right? They were okay with whatever they can find in gaming.
Right.
Because at that time there was a recession also. There was a 2-3 years of a very bad phase for everybody. And at that time, finding a job was difficult, and finding a gaming job was much more difficult. So people who wanted to get into gaming, they were okay with anything. For me personally, I just wanted to get into the industry. I had skills in all the three sectors. So I knew 3D Max, Maya, Photoshop. I was very good at it. in 2007, right? So I was ready to get into the company and start working on art as well because of the skills that I had. I was having a computer background, engineering background. That is why I knew programming as well. So I was good in C Sharp and Java also at that time. So for me, I just wanted to get in and take anything that comes my way, and start my career in gaming. So I was very open about it. Fortunately, on day one, when I started realizing that game designing is much more interesting, and it really suits my interests, because I was also very much involved or interested in theater, in storytelling. So I used to do. I didn't have that stage fear since when I was a kid. From that time itself, so storytelling was one of the factor that was always around me. So when I got into game design, my seniors used to give me books to read, Greek mythology, Indian mythology. Uh, they used to give me content to consume. Like we used to watch movies. Used to watch a lot of abstract stuff to understand storytelling also. So that was much more interesting for me at that time, and I started loving it. So then I decided, like, okay, this is much more in sync with what I love. So I just started digging deep into it.
Hmm. Interesting. How did you come out to form Underdog Studios after all of this? Like, when was that step that you decided, no, I'll do my own stuff?
So I when I was working at India Games, very like it was like 5-6 months, I was fired from India Games, right? Because the recession was going on, and then for 1.5 years I was jobless. After that, I didn't have any job. I was even ready to do unpaid jobs at companies, but they also rejected me by then.
This is such a familiar story for every game designer.
Yeah. And then in 2009, I got a job in an IT firm. I did programming for 10 months over there, and then they also fired me again, right? So then I was like very clear ki bhai, I did gaming, I did IT. I loved doing gaming much more than the IT stuff. I'll take a break and I'll just try and figure out any job opportunity that I get into gaming. And then I got Games to Win as a game designer, as a full-fledged, full-time game designer. And in Games to Win, I learned a lot of stuff, like, because it's a small company, but there is a lot more to do in that company. So being a game designer, you need to do the game design stuff, the game production also. You need to take care of the publishing aspect also. So during that phase, right, a funny incident happened. Was like we at that point of time, I was very much aware of how to make a game, like from start to end. The production pipeline was very clear in my head. I learned that stuff, and I had a backup. I had a friend who was very good at programming. So a thought was going on in my head about starting my own stuff. But it got like it was very firm when one of my producers at Games to Win gave me a check to give it to one of the vendors who used to live, in the same area where I live. So he just gave me that envelope. He told me that give it to him. He made a game, and just a week before that, we were so pissed on that guy because the game was so bad. Um, so what I did was, when I was going to give him the check, I just opened up the envelope and I just saw the check. That is where I decided to start my own.
They're like, they're scamming us. God damn it!
I can scam better. That's what.
I will play the system. The system won't
I
play
will
me.
scam the better and give a better product in return also. That was, I think, the main thought process.
Yeah. So
Which year did
What
Underdogs?
is the inciting action?
Which year did Underdogs come up?
So it was 2011, but
Right.
the Games to Win thing was happening by the end of 2009 and the beginning of 2010, right?
Right.
So the thought was clear. I'll start my own stuff. I need 2-3 people. That was the plan.
Right.
I had a game program. I had a software programmer who used to work with me in that IT firm, who was a senior to me, but he was very much interested in games. So I convinced him. I kept him on hold. I convinced him. He was a freelancer, right? So I decided to start my own thing. But there was one problem. I didn't have a great network. I mean, like I didn't know anybody, and not people, not like people also didn't know me at that time, right? So what I decided was I'll take a break of 1 year. I'll go into a company which is close to gaming business, and I'll try and create a great network. And that is where I took a call, and I quit Games to Win. I went to Hangama. My only objective in going to Hangama was to know people, meet people, and introduce myself. That is it. Like, I'm being very, very honest. The floor, right, in Hangama, I joined Hangama in 2010, and the floor had 800 people on day one when I joined. The day I left Hangama, I think I introduced myself to around 700 people on that floor, and all of them like literally knew me. To be very honest, I didn't do much of work in Hangama. All I did was just network with people. And fortunately, what happened was, out of those 700 people, 7 people came to my rescue when I started UnderDOGS. They gave me my first, work and everything. That's what the plan was from the start, to, create that network. I didn't have anything to do. If I didn't have anything to do regarding any project, I just used to jump on it and just, talk to people and do that stuff. So that is how I created that network. And then 2011, when I was very sure कि अगले 6-7 महीने के लिए तो पैसा बना लूंगा इन लोगों से, that is where I decided to quit Hangama and start UnderDOGS.
Right.
And
And
this was
this studio was in Mumbai, UnderDOGS?
yeah. So September 2011, what happened was, it's a very interesting story. What happened was, one of the kick that I got to start, like I wanted to start, but I didn't want to start in 2011. Why I started was because in Hangama, my appraisals were super bad. And that pissed me off, man. That really pissed me off. Like, what happened was,
Game development, dude. For some reason, they're very stringent about appraisals.
dude, I'll tell you the numbers also. I was in Hangama, I was earning 16,000 rupees per month, 16. Okay, that was my salary in Hangama. This was 2011, and I was a very core piece of that project, where I was managing the production of Tata Sky projects. So Tata Sky DTH platform, right? So we were making games for them, and it was very new at that time because nobody was making DTH games, and this was the first, a provider who was getting into gaming business on TV. So we were doing that, and my appraisal was 1,500 rupees, right?
And this was in Mumbai as well?
Yeah.
How do you survive that?
Yeah. So that's what that pissed me off. Like, I was pretty sure that at least 30-40% is what I was expecting to grow in. But then I got an appraisal of like, they increased my salary to 17.5 thousand, and it just pissed me off. So what I did was, I just wrote a mail to. I was sitting in Hangama only. I just wrote a mail to a company. I just don't want to name the company. Yeah. I just mailed a company because I had a game ready with me. By that time, I had one game ready with me, a Flash game. I mailed that company, and I told them that a company called as UnderDOGS is started recently, and we have this game. We want to show it to you. I sent the game, and immediately in 2 hours I got a reply saying, we love the game, we want to buy the game. So when that appraisal happened, from the time the appraisal happened to next 5-6 hours, I had 1 lakh rupees in my bank account immediately.
Already exit plan start like.
Proper हो रहा है यहाँ पे.
But
So what I did,
that sounds very interesting, honestly.
yeah. So what I did was, I immediately wrote a resignation letter, gave it to the GM, and my 30-day notice period started. Okay, and what I did was, I was sitting in Hangama. I created a domain called as underdogsthestudio.com. That the website that you still see, I created it in Hangama when I was sitting there. I was pissed. I wrote a one-page information about the company, a lot of stuff which was never existed at that time. Like we have 50 people working and all that stuff. I had a friend who had some artwork done, which he never used. So I just created a portfolio page and I added that all that artwork, asked him for permissions, and I added that artwork as our artwork.
Wow.
And just created a website, a domain with email IDs and everything. And that is where I started the conversation with that company to give me work. The next day itself, this is like a very Bollywood kind of first story. Like the next day, I get a mail from the same company saying that we saw the portfolio, we saw your website, we saw the game also. It's very flawless. There are no bugs and all that stuff. We love your work and we want to give you 2 more games. Okay, so they, on the mail itself, they gave us 2 more games. And in 2 days, again 2 days, like flash games were what, 1 lakh rupee was one flash game at that time, right? My bank account was 3 lakh rupees in 2 days when I was sitting in Hangama for the 2 games that I was supposed to make, right? So my 1 month of notice period, this is what I did. I used to wake up at 9:30 in the, like I used to wake up at say 7:38. I used to reach Hangama at 9:30. I used to work till 6 o'clock, leave Hangama, go home, and my father has a very small workshop in near my place only, where that's his company. So I borrowed like a 4x4 square, like
Cubicle.
4 tiles, right?
Right.
Four big tiles. So a 30, like 4x4 square space. I put a table on it, and I used to reach home at say 7:30, and at 8 o'clock, me and my friend used to start working on the games that we were supposed to make for the other
Right.
company, right?
Right.
So we used to start working at 8 o'clock and finish the work by 4 o'clock in the morning. I used to come back home at 4 o'clock, sleep for 3 hours, get up and go to Hangama again.
How old
This
were
was
you
my,
when this happened?
I was 26.
Damn.
So
Excellent.
for a month we did this, and we made 2 games for that company. We gave it to them, and when my last day was like 9th of September 2011 in Hangama, and 11th September UnderDOGS was full-fledgedly started. So
That's a very,
that-
very nice story of how the studio started. It's definitely different than what we heard last week from Avichal. This feels like a full heist movie or something, but game development version. But
yeah,
I can't blame
I
you.
like
If you are getting paid 16K or 7.5K for handling gaming production pipelines
In Mumbai.
in Mumbai,
That-
I mean, that's a lot of things going on that must have pushed you to do all of these things. It's not like something by choice that you've done. It was definitely what I can say you were pushed into a corner.
yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, that's a trend I've noticed quite a lot. Is this something we want to comment on? Like, eventually people.
see, all I want to comment on is if this generation faced the same thing, we'd be crumbling in depression.
Dude, don't.
I'm
Usually,
surprised.
mostly when people
26.
create, it comes from a place of frustration.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, hey, that's the most interesting part, I guess. I am 25. If all of this happened, I would cry.
Dude, this generation just like they have existential crisis in 21. So like I
Yeah,
have
this is
a
the-
lot of people on YouTube, like the followers on YouTube, they come like DMing me on Instagram every time saying that I'm just frustrated with my life because I don't know what to do, and basically they don't know how to start in gaming at this point, and
Right.
they have this existential crisis right now.
Right.
So
No,
it surprises me.
while I say all of
Comes from
that,
the fact that, well, Sorry, Aman, you want to go
Yeah,
ahead?
no, you go ahead.
So I think it comes from the fact that a lot of people, and this is so good that we have you on this podcast, is um I think people expect to be somewhere really by their mid 20s or by the early 20s, right? And if that is the impression when you're getting into game industry, there's a lot of roadblocks that are waiting to uh, set you back, because getting fired is a very, very, very almost a required step first off in the game development, and getting really, really stressed out by given some very problematic production pipelines. And there is so much grind that you have to go through to even realize that, hey, I'm finally, probably, I know my shit now, right? uh, so I think this is a good time for us to unravel all of that and to realize that you life has just started for you at 21. There's nothing
Yeah.
Mhm.
to
Yeah, and I think at this point there are a lot of parents who are supporting this, right?
right.
Who are supporting gaming and as a career. I remember the day. I'm not even kidding. I remember getting into India Games was my dream. Okay, I always imagined working for India Games one day, like during that period, right? 2001 to 2007. I used to just visualize and manifest that I'll one day work with India Games, and I got my first job in India Games, and they fired me in 5 months. I was crying. I am the whole journey, right, from the office to my house. I kept crying. I entered my house. I opened the door. My mom opened the door and I said, I am fired from the company. I am crying and my mom is laughing.
Dude,
Like, and she was happy that I'm no more connected to gaming.
I think Aman remembers this very well in 2017, where a project was. I was working at Moonfrog Labs on contract as a writer, right?
Mhm.
And the game wasn't doing well, and they were like, "We're letting go of your contract," and I was not going to be able to pay my rent, and all the while I was considering, how do I tell my parents, right? Right, that I quit a very high paying job at Flipkart to basically get into writing. And eventually, when I landed a job in Moonfrog Labs, I was super happy. And but what I didn't realize is this is such a normal thing that happens, that you just one day you're comfortable in your job, the next day it's gone, right? It took such a shock for me, and when I told my parents, they were like, see, we told you, like, you should have stuck with Flipkart, right? And then that whole time where I had to move back to my parents' house, and then try to find my foot again in the game industry, right? I had constant pushback from my parents as to, this is pointless, don't pursue this. It's very so if you have family that is really actively supporting you, then
Great.
that's a
Yeah.
great thing, because that shows that the landscape has changed a lot.
Yeah,
Hmm. But I want to
totally.
just point out, um, like whatever I've heard about your story, though, Vaibhav, it's still more of the exceptional case, I think, because a lot of people still, I mean, there were while a lot of things happened, you still had the right connections and the right things at some time, right? Like India Games was in Mumbai, you were in Mumbai, a lot of things like that, kind of stayed at the right place, at least kind of luck turned out. But for a lot of people across India, they don't have they don't know. Like when I was growing up in Guwahati, right, uh, I wanted to get into game development, and all I could see was Mac and Arena, and that was my entire perspective of game development, is that these are the places to learn. There's nothing else, right? And
Yeah,
because that was the mainstream kind of view in TV or whatever you see, right? Information back in 2005, 6, it's not like you could just Google Indian game development, like teaching institutions, and they would give you a list. There were none. Back
yeah,
then, I think it was DSK only, and now we have a few studios. But just talking about all of that and just trying to go into the next topic here, which is I understand that you've gone through a grind, but back then when you were starting out, you didn't have more or less a lot of mentors. I think this is something I also talked to Avichal about last week. Game development is a much different landscape in India today than it was, say, 15 years back, specifically because of this reason. Like today, a lot of people like you, Vichal, and others know game development, and there are indie studios and there are independent studios, like, right, and small indie studios. And there are also big studios like Ubisoft and Rockstar in India today, right? So getting into game development is still a bit easier because it's about contacting the right people. Back in 2005, I could imagine there were probably, say, 50 game developers you could get in touch with across the country who would be able to teach you valuable things. Today, that number is a lot bigger. Right. And that helps. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what are your thoughts on the current game development scenario, given the fact that, Raji came out, which I guess, like, we talked about what success meant to people like Avichal and the studio, how it's the small things, and as well as the things like 500 positive reviews on Steam, 94%, all of that, the entire reception of the Indian public, right, of how they see Indian games, that, and now people sharing games. So okay, just one thing, nothing against you game developers, but I have seen people overhyping the lamest kinds of games in the name of India. Okay, I'm not even talking about 4G. I'm talking about literal. See, just day before yesterday, I saw this random studio pop up from Calcutta, and they didn't share anything. They just shared a concept art, and they put a description of a game, which is something about spirituality and Hinduism and blah blah blah, all treacherous swords.
I saw
And
it. I saw
you
it.
saw that, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? It all like, there's so many games. I have seen one game that's like an exact copycat of Rainbow Six Siege from Bangladesh, which is set in something like Kolkata or Bangladesh kind of area. And I have also I've seen so many shovelware. That's the correct word for it, right? It's like people just taking on the hype of what game development is becoming in India, just putting out an image there.
None of those games are playable, is what you're saying.
Not just play, not just not playable. I mean, have you seen shovelware on Steam specifically?
Right.
Right. You know how they just reuse a lot of existing assets, clump it all together. I mean, that's technically game design. It's technically a game, but it's just technically a game. Nothing else.
And the bosses.
Yeah,
Yes, you can go from point A to point B. There will be a victory screen. You're done. That's a
and all
game.
of these games go for the entire mainstream appeal. So this Bangladesh game going for this entire Rainbow Six Siege plus Kolkata vibe, which is very mainstream if you ask me, right? Then you have this thing that concept art that came out, which is like just not particularly talking about shovelware, which I am damn sure we are going to see a lot. So for anyone who is viewing this podcast, please don't share shovelware, share nice games. But what do you think about the current state of development, game development in India, now that Raji has come? Do you think Raji was a game changer, or do you think it's just slow and steady since forever?
I think like you actually asked two different questions.
Yeah, I said a lot of things back then, my bad.
Yeah,
But
but I was very curious to answer the first thing that you mentioned about the development scenario, right? And the people. I feel like I'm a very spiritual person. I feel that the universe has a very tricky way to balance out the situation. It might sound funny, but hear me out. Back in 2005, right? Back in 2005-6, when we were talking about the thing that you mentioned, right? People didn't have mentors at that time. People didn't have enough access to internet or the information where they can start things, right? Compare that situation with current situation. People have a lot of stuff, but if you see both the generations, right? People at that time were very humble. They had a lot of humility, gratitude towards whatever they're getting, and they were very thankful about stuff. What I feel in this current situation is people don't realize the opportunities that they get. Everything is out there in front of them, right? the situation that you mentioned, right? Me being in Mumbai at the same time, like at the right time, at the right place. Obviously, I was very lucky. But if you see the current situation, people don't have to be at a physical space.
Mm-hmm,
People can sit
mm-hmm,
at their home and work for an international company. They don't even need an Indian company to, to grow to grow up the ladder and stuff like that. They have access to all the platforms online. A normal artist can grow to a great artist only via Instagram. You know that, right? People right now are making concept art for naughty dogs sitting in India.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have done it, right? They have done it. So what I feel is उस टाइम पे एक्सेस नहीं था but people were very very humble and I had that attitude. Right now, every like it's balancing out, like, and that is why only good people with good attitudes are going a long way at this point also, I feel.
Mm.
I get a lot of, like, I'll give you an example. Because of this YouTube, right, the people DM me on Instagram about stuff, right? I so I don't have to reply, but I make sure that I reply to these people, because that's what my objective is, to come on YouTube. That is why I started doing YouTube, right? To help people out, whatever I know. I can just sit in front of camera, talk about one subject and give that information to the people, right? So, just for an example, somebody DM'd me saying, I want to apply at your company as an intern. You don't have to DM me. The website is there. There is an email ID over there. Put your resume in there, in that, like, send the resume on that email ID, right? But he's messaging me saying this thing. I am being nice, giving him the email ID, so telling him to, send the resume. The very next moment, this is what the guy does, right? He just puts his resume, he drags and drops his resume in the mail and sends it out. There is no subject line, there's no body, there's no hi, there's no regards, there's no cover letter. And
Mm.
then he does this at 4 o'clock today, and the next morning he DMs me saying I didn't get any response. Like, dude, we used to wait a month for a company to reply to us,
Yeah.
right? That because we needed that opportunity, because we were very true to, true and honest to what we were doing, and we wanted to do it. But I think it's balancing out, man. I think it's just balancing out. People have way too many mentors right now,
Mm.
telling all kind of stuff. People just need to focus on their craft and their paths. That is what I feel.
Right. Going off that point, I wanted to tell, because people have different mentors, is what you say, and there are many different people saying different things. At the same time, I think that this was covered in the last podcast as well with Avichal. Is like when people want to get into games, they most of them have a very specific kind of game that they want to make, right? And they want the clear path to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted your opinion, because the kind of games you went through a completely different tangential way, right? You had license, you started with a lot of licensed products, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted some, removing the pretty curtain out of the game development thing, to show like what are the other processes that people have gone through and you might need to go through, because you can't make a Spider-Man like
I was going to say GTA.
right.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
And
you can't make GD. You can't.
current
You
current thing is
probably would
GTA.
not be able to make even Raji, right?
Probably can't
Uh,
make Rainbow Six Siege in Calcutta. Just saying. Hey.
Raji, no, that's not a knock on the thing. Is Raji is an indie game, but even that requires so much thought process and planning and
Mm.
execution to the finesse, right?
Mm.
Uh, so I wanted more to know more about your process of licensed games, and how that worked, and how that deals with the people who gave you those licenses, and how that interaction. Because what the people don't realize is game development is as much about craft as it is about communication with all the people and the team and the shareholders, and this all of that really influences the design as well. It's not created in a vacuum.
Yeah, dude, that last thing just gave me goosebumps because I'll tell you why.
Shareholders.
I'll, yeah, no, no, not the shareholders.
It's like, oh shit, it's the holy word.
Oh, you
Give
said
it
that
away.
word. Trauma, like people have Vietnam flashbacks, right?
No, no, it was not about that. The network and the connections that you said, right? The connections and the so my like I'll tell you on that same point, right? Underdogs has a very strict policy of we when you have to, obviously you judge people, right? Judge in the sense based on their work and their ethics, right? In a company,
Mhm.
we always want people who have 40% of the skills. That's it. You need 40% of the skills in your the tech part or art part, whatever you're doing, but you need 60% of interpersonal skills. You need to be a team member. You need to have that
Mhm.
bond with the team. That is what we also look forward to, like when
Mhm.
we hire people, right? If you give me options, two options, one is the guy who is genius, but
Mhm.
he is nowhere connected to the team. He is not talking to people. He has nothing to do with what is going on in other person's, I'm not saying person's life, but at least the interaction and stuff,
The work
versus
life, at least.
yeah,
Mhm.
versus the other guy who is like 50% of this guy, but he's very much into that, sharing stuff, like people being the people's guy is very important. So I'll always go with the second guy because I know this guy is going to take us to a very, he's going to stay here for long. That is what is important in smaller studios. About the about this thing, right? Everybody wants to make a GTA, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've been, yeah,
I
listening to
think that's
this for so
common.
long.
I think that's common. I think that's also kind of comes from ignorance about the fact that people don't actually know what takes into game development. People don't even know
No, but
how much time games take to make. It's something
true.
surprising. People think, specifically parents, right? Parents,
Yeah,
and I can understand the apprehension of letting your kids go into such a line, because you can be waiting years till you see your first game go into proper fruition and whatnot, like, right? This is
yeah,
an example we gave last year, which is, I think Witcher 1 specifically was in development for almost 8 years as well, because they initially came out with a playtest of their game in something PAX or Gamescom, and it was bad. It was horrible to the point, and it was bad than the current version. Like, compared to the current version, the current version is already not that great. Just saying, it's very
I
janky
mean,
and stuff.
just just people look up to Naughty Dogs, right?
Yeah,
But if you look behind the Jack and Daxter, Naughty Dog has been around since 1980s,
yeah. Hmm.
and they started with math games, simple, really basic game. They were not. They didn't start with Uncharted right away. It was a
Hmm.
long development. It took 20 years for them to get
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
That part is something we need to expose more, and so that's why I want to know more about.
yeah. So I was getting to that. Like I said, right? Everybody wants to GTA. It's not a new thing, by the way. Even you wanted to make a GTA,
Oh, of
right? Even
course.
I wanted to make a GTA.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what everybody of like, we grew with that attitude, right? We
See,
grew
if,
with
if
that.
if there was a game design engine similar to how there's a website drag and drop tool, I would be making GTA by now. Just drag and drop. Yeah, but I think that's how Crackdown 3 was made. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. So I had this influence of GTA and FIFA. These were the two games like I played a lot during my days, right? Like 2002, I think 2004. I upgraded my PC to Pentium 4. That was when I started playing bigger games, and I have played GTA when GTA 2 came. GTA 2, GTA Liberty City, Vice City, every version of it, I've completed those games. And like I said, right, everybody wanted to make a GTA, and I also had the same idea, right? Everybody wanted to do that. But when I started working for Games to Win and Hangama, then I realized that this is something which will take me years, but I need to learn stuff for that. And when I started UnderDOGS, my idea always with UnderDOGS, my plan was super strict and super, you know,
Straightforward.
it was straightforward. It was very straightforward. I start like it was this way that I'll start UnderDOGS. I'll make money for some time. I'll make games for other people. I'll learn everything that I can from these people. And then eventually, when the time comes, when I am capable enough to do stuff, I'll make a bigger game. That was it, right? But this idea was born in 2012. After 2012, when people started using Unity. उसके पहले I started just as a servicing company, just to make money. Okay, so 2011 I started UnderDOGS as a Flash game servicing company. My only idea was to go to clients and get games from them, make a game, give it back to them, take the money to develop the development cost. Basically, that's it. Right.
Understood.
But 2011, but what I was seeing is since 2008 was Flash was slowly dying, and everybody was knowing it. Like 2008, so Flash was like going down, and people were not really making money from those games. So something else was supposed to come. I think there was one tool that Adobe launched. I don't remember, Swift or something at that time, which they wanted to bring in by shutting down Flash. Something was there, but that also didn't work. And surprisingly, there were two guys on YouTube called Tornado Twins. I don't know if you guys know these guys. Tornado Twins were the guys who spread Unity like wildfire. Like they were actually twins, and they used to make games using Unity, which was very new. This is 2012 beginning. So they used to do that, and that is where it caught our eyes also, and we just picked up Unity. And I think we were one of the very few first developers who started with Unity. And when we started Unity, right, we started with 2D games.
Right.
Simple 2D games on mobile. So idea was simple 2D games on mobile. How can we make it? That is where we got a big project from Games to Win, and we made Parking Frenzy for Games to Win in 2013. So the Parking Frenzy that you see right now, which like has 40 million downloads, that is made by 4 of us in that small space in in my dad's factory.
It's in the Play Store.
Yeah, it's in Play Store. They have made maximum amount of money from that game only. So we learned. So what we learned was we learned how to make a 2D mobile game on using Unity. Then we learned how to publish that game by working with Games to Win. Then we learned, what is an ASO, how do you market your game, what is user acquisition, what is Games to Win exactly doing to promote this game, what is cross promotions, everything. It was all step by step. Then when we were very much comfortable working on a 2D game, a full-fledged 2D game, and launching it to the app stores, then we decided to stop servicing and get into our own games. Because now we were comfortable, right? We knew how to make and publish a game. So we stopped servicing at that time, and we jumped into making our own games. But we took one step ahead. What we did was we didn't make a 2D game. We made a 3D game.
Right.
And this is 2014, the beginning of 2014. If you check, or if you see, you wouldn't find many 3D games from India at that time. On mobile. They were all 2D small games, puzzle-driven games. They were people are making those games, but we were also one of the few developers who started 3D games using Unity. So we made a parking game only, but it was 3D. And then once we launched that game, we made some money from that parking game. But then again, it was not much to survive. We lost money. We between this time, right, 2012 to 2014, we shifted to another place. There was like a 200 square feet place where 5 of us used to make games. But in 2014, when we made this parking game, we made money, but we lost a lot of money because we were not making games for people. We stopped servicing, right? That was the money flow that was going in the company, which helped us run the company, but we stopped it because we were also stupid enough to say that we'll make another $1 million game, but we'll do it ourselves. We had no idea that we have to put in a lot of money for user acquisition to bring money, to do that soft launch and stuff like that. We were stupid at that time, so we did that. We didn't make money, a lot of money, so I had to shut the space over there. And four of us, one left, and four of us came back to my apartment. So I had my room. I just cleared all the things out of my room, the bed and everything. Got the dining table inside my room, and four of us used to sit in my room, and we started making one game. So 2014 December, right? This was a time when we decided to either shut the company or make one game which can make us money. That was the only agenda. So it was like a do or die situation for us. So we planned out the game. We planned out the whole design and everything. Like it was on the paper. It was 6 to 7 months of development time. But what we did was we were so passionate and so angry about a lot of stuff, and four people got into my room, shut the doors for 2.5 months. We finished the game in 2.5 months.
Wow.
The 7 months development time, right? We just cut it down. All those four people, right? They just used to go home to sleep and come back, and all of us used to live in the same area. So they used to just go to sleep, come back in the morning, and 2.5 months we finished the game. 2015 March, we launched this game called Skatelander, and that was the biggest game for us. So Skatelander launched. It made us a lot of money at that time. For four of us, it was huge. We got called to Casual Connect Singapore. We got called to Casual Connect USA. Then Apple featured the game on 130 countries. Google featured it in 100 countries. So the whole 2015 was only Skatelander. It gave us experience. It gave us money. It gave us name. People started started knowing us. We got an international publishing deal also for that game. Ported it to multiple platforms and did a lot of stuff. And in 2016, I was able to raise money for the company. So that's a journey, right? Like every stage you see there is a learning, and there are stepping stones. When I was very comfortable with Unity, with 3D and all that stuff, in 2017 I wrote an idea which was Mukti, because then the end goal always was the GTA, right? Was a narrative based big game.
Right.
Obviously we don't have that strength to make like a game like GTA. We don't have that strength and everything, but we can still make an indie game, right? We can still make a narrative based indie game which has like 4 hours, 5 hours of gameplay.
Right.
And that was the idea. So that is where I wrote Mukti. And Mukti started in 2018. So Mukti we started development on Mukti in 2018, but within a year we got a lot of roadblocks. We had to halt the production, and it's still very, very slow. But that's the graph, to sum it.
That happens. That's fine. I think so. This is Mukti, this upcoming game of yours. It's like a mobile or just PC or both.
No, it was always intended towards PC.
Right.
But when I last year I went to Game Connection America, and I learned a lot of stuff over there. I think all the publishers, they were just very interested about the game and the story and everything, and they just wanted to do it on all the platforms together. So it's like PC and consoles. And then Nintendo Switch also came in, and it's become easier to do that also. So I think probably when it comes, it would come simultaneously on all the platforms. Not on mobile though, at that time.
Right. Going back to my previous question though, I think this is a nice place to go back to that question. Do you think Raji was a game changer in terms of the Indian game development scene in any way? I know it was a game changer in terms of at least public perception, right? The general gamers of India started caring a little more about... before Raji, I'll tell you what happened. Before Raji, the average gamer did not know Indian game studios existed at all. right? They knew, maybe some of them knew that Ubisoft was there. No one knew anything about Dhruva, Underdogs, Naughty Net Studios. Then these guys were making Holy Cow Productions and so on. Like, there's so many studios in India, but no one was aware. Do you think, I mean, the public perception for sure changed, at least a little bit, at least by a small margin, if nothing else. The influencers definitely caught the scent of Indian indie games. But do you think this changed in a way that is affecting you guys directly in a positive or negative way, like the developers?
I think it is a game changer, definitely. But there are few things which you can't change. Like I'll give you an example. Like the the market has really started accepting stuff. That is true.
Right.
Like the international publishers, right? The example that I gave you, I went to Game Connection America, right? I had 5 days, and in 5 days, I met 50 publishers, and
Right.
all of them, like all big names, Raw Fury, Devolver Digital, 505
Oh,
Games,
are you doing
everybody.
anything with Devolver Digital? I'll be the first in line to buy.
Yeah, Raw Fury. In fact, they called me to their office, and it was like a garage look completely. I pitched the game, and they loved it. Like it was, they actually loved it. But problem with narrative-based games is they cannot make a judgment on a 20-minute gameplay at the
Right.
beginning.
You need to know the entire thing.
Yeah. So it got pushed. But here's the thing: these publishers and the investors, in general, they have a different perception now for the industry. That is for sure. Because even we get a lot of on LinkedIn or other networks, we get a lot of requests or from the VCs also about this particular
So
genre.
you've seen the narrative change a little bit after
Yeah,
after
definitely.
RG, from investors
Definitely.
specifically, I imagine as well.
Yeah, definitely. But here's the thing: like if you're imagining that because Raji came, there will be a lot of games of that quality coming out from people. I don't think so.
No,
Uh,
I agree. I don't think we are gonna see a lot of Rajis. I think we are gonna see up and down. It's like gonna be a roller coaster right now,
yeah,
right? We'll see
yeah.
something nice and something terrible, like 4G. Then again, something nice. So yeah, I think we
Yeah,
are
but
on for that
okay.
ride.
Yeah, on 4G also, I have a different perception. Okay, if you want to talk about that,
Please
I'll
go
talk about
ahead.
that as
Go
well.
ahead.
Yeah, but first, let me just touch base on this one, right? When I say there will be games, that the situation has changed, but some things can't be changed. Is like in India, the companies who are making shitload of money from gaming, they really don't care about games. They just don't care about games. So I talk about this very often. Like India में दो तरीके के business है. One, there are people who are making games, and there are people who are making money from the games. That's it, right?
Right, you're
So
talking about see, I am not associated with your circle, so I can maybe shed some light here. I think I know where you're going at, but I'll give you some examples. So there's this thing called Indian Game Development Conference that was happening for a long time. It's been happening since almost ever since I have been in blogging, which is 2013. So I think it's been available since before that. But I know there was a big outcry among developers back in 2015 and 16, because among developers and people who were hosting the show, because back then I remember there was between certain developers, I can't name who, but basically the feedback went to ICG's Indian Game
IGDC.
Development, IGDC guys, that you guys have to stop talking about how to monetize your games and talk more about how to make the actual games, right? I think that's the actual conversation that went back then, and that was a huge thing back then, because a lot of I won't say developers, rather I would say CEOs of studios or like stakeholders of studios who were coming in and saying that one of the main reasons the Indian game development scene wasn't growing, and I still remember this clear as daylight, was because Google did not bring carrier billing into India. Back to the consumer, that means basically the ability to pay with your debit card or things like Paytm, which we all avail these days and take for granted. Basically, the ability to pay online in the local format of debit card and whatnot, that wasn't available back in the day. It's a very recent thing, as most of you will know, but a big discussion around this entire Indian game development conference and everything was about these things, right? How to make money out of your game rather than how to make a game. So yeah, I just to give the perspective to the viewers, I said all that.
Yeah, yeah. No, so you're correct, and these conferences also sometimes get into a different direction because they focus more on the business aspects of it rather than the indie aspect of it.
Right.
That is where people like I right now I'm the part of the council. I'm the part of the IGDC council. So like eight nine of us are arranging IGDC now, which is happening this week, right? Like
Yeah.
17th to 20th.
Yeah.
Just making sure that because 2 years back I heard something wherein somebody from IGDC just told it on, like, we were trying to have something which was helpful for indies, and I was not a part of the council at that time, but we got a response saying that we are more focused on bigger companies, not on indies. So that is where either you let it go or you just do something about it, and that's
Right.
why how we are getting involved into this
Right.
to improve that stuff. But when I the segregation, again coming back to the segregation, the bigger companies are doing the business, and that's not wrong. They're making it, like they're doing it. You can never expect, even though they have millions of dollars right now in their pockets, you cannot expect Raji from these people anytime soon. Like they'll just keep on churning money, raising money, and
That's not
do
even a
pure
priority
exist.
for them, actually.
Yeah. And on the other part, the pure developers who are passionate enough to create something like Raji, they will do it. But I think the number of these developers is would be very, very, 100 में से दो ऐसे रहेंगे. And the other 98s are the ones who will be ripping off stuff, I feel, because recently, through the YouTube only, recently I have seen like 4 to 5 games, and I'm very, like, I get very pissed by seeing the marketing strategy around it. These are like 15, 14, 15-year-old kids who are using Unreal, putting the used assets and stuff like that, and putting it out on YouTube saying India's first AAA game.
Yeah, that's the Rainbow Six Siege games I'm talking about. I mean, see, if you're 15-year-old, fine, do it. Right, say whatever you want, put it on Instagram. See, if I was 15-year-old, I wouldn't care. I would be more than happy to just, at least put things on an engine and do it. I've seen adults do this.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's funny to say, but these are the people who will be making Raji. I'm telling you.
For sure.
This is
I completely agree. The kids, not the adults who are doing this. Okay,
exactly.
I'm saying if you're in your teenage, and I think Avichal touched on this a little bit, and you want to get into game development, make copies, make the Flappy Bird in 30 minutes. There's like a course that you can make Flappy Bird in 30 minutes if you just follow it, right? Make your Rainbow Six in Kolkata. The Rainbow Six in Kolkata will never be big, but it will teach you like to make games in general, which will help you in the long run, right? Even Avichal said, like, if he's a CS player, so he was like, if you can just make a CSGO map, right? It starts with something very simple, or just a skin, anything, but get into it. I think that helps making these games. And I'm sure because we have seen another game which was a student project. Me and Udit saw it, I think, about 2 months back. which is a game from Calcutta, which is called Sonzai, right?
Sonzai. It
Uh,
is a combination of DMC and Persona.
yes. And this game looks brilliant. It's like a 2D platformer. It's apparently from students in Calcutta. And this game looks original, looks badass, and looks like when they said like it's an inspiration from DMC and Persona, you can see it in the UI, you can see it in the movement, you can see it in the style of the game, right? And seeing this just gives me a lot of hope, because I feel like Raji is only this. The reason why I even asked you why, if you think the uh, foundation of the Indian game development scene changed in any way after Raji, is because I am very hopeful personally about seeing more games like Raji, more games, independent games from India, and more high quality games, because while we do have indie games, we haven't seen the level of polish that might be seen in an international indie game yet, right?
Yeah.
Raji
Yeah.
came close, I believe, but I think, yeah, Raji came close, very close. It also got featured in a lot of places,
Yeah.
but there's still ways to go. Raji was the first of many in what I see in the coming days. So yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good wrap on the topic. I think we can go on to the next topic. A little bit we wanted to discuss, Udit suggested, since it's clickbait, and since you are also from the mobile development scene, at least, PUBG Mobile might be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just
Yeah.
change it. It's apparently GM is back. Yeah, it's apparently PUBG Mobile India now. For those of you who don't know what's happening, so PUBG got a PUBG made a deal with Microsoft to bring the game separately to India. What's happening is they bought the Chinese version of PUBG Mobile to India. What other than the language barriers, you can see a lot of those mechanics that's in the Chinese version of the game that's come to India. So yeah, and they're already facing hurdles, but Microsoft, like PUBG has invested, and Microsoft had invested what, $100 million in the country already, and the top PUBG Mobile people are already making an ad, and Hrithik Roshan is in Free Fire, and this is old news, but yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on in mobile industry that like just went boom since last year, and I'm still coming to terms with it as like, okay, nice. I will never play the game, but very nice. What are your thoughts on all of this? Do you think PUBG Mobile coming back is good for? I mean, I think it's good for the country. Everyone plays it. But do you think it's going to change anything? Do you think it can come back? Because there's been a little pushback from the government as well. And what? And I this is specifically to you, Vaibhav. What precedent do you think it sets for other apps that got banned alongside PUBG? Right? Because if PUBG can
Yeah.
just come under another publisher, another company, what's stopping what's stopping TikTok from like being acquired from Microsoft, and Microsoft maybe, okay, we are bringing TikTok now, right? So yeah, please discuss.
I just like, this is my personal opinion. I just feel there's a lot of political agenda on this one.
Really?
Like so I read this article yesterday itself. The thing that you're mentioning, that the government is not ready to give them, the clean shit, clean shit. But see, to be very honest, I think even PUBG has no idea why it was banned.
Oh yeah, I think. I mean, PUBG technically knows. I mean, for sure, they must know. I mean, to give you guys an idea, why even though the government said it was snooping, data privacy, and all that, that's not true. Facebook would be the first one to go if that was true.
Exactly.
He was completely the border tensions happening between India and China right now, and it's still happening, right?
Yeah.
And PUBG Mobile is, while the app is coming under Microsoft, the app itself is still built by Tencent, which is which is very interesting, kind of to see what's happening with all of this right now.
Yeah, as far as I understand, PUBG might come to India, but they'll have to, like, there will be a lot of to and fro still. Like there is
Oh,
still
there'll be a lot of,
lot
this.
masala.
There's a lot of money exchanging hands. I believe I'm for sure. I'm just very curious that PUBG wasn't the only app that got banned because of all of this happening, right? There was a
Yeah,
lot of apps, and TikTok, I believe, is bigger than PUBG, if I
yeah.
understand correctly. It's also valued more than PUBG, if I understand correctly. So, what's stopping TikTok or any other app coming under all of these new Microsoft deals and whatnot and coming in? What is your thought, Udit? You're a mobile fanatic.
I have nothing to comment on this topic particularly. I just wanted it for the clicks.
Wow. Come on.
No, I
You
mean,
are
it
the
is
one who got me into this discussion. You better have something to say for it.
no, I mean, it is good, especially, I mean, for all the things that people would say about PUBG and how people look down about mobile gamers. Man, my watchman used to play that. The shopkeeper beside them, they used to keep playing that, and again, uh, you're not realizing how much it means to those people, right? So I'm just glad it's back. Not that these guys have also gotten smart enough to find their ways around to play it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though it was banned, they were still playing it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
This is weird because even though the game was banned, the servers were still active. The servers were active till almost last week, I believe.
right,
And everyone was still playing it. If you had the APK also, if you could separately download the APK, you could still play the game. Right.
right.
So it's such a weird ban. Like in one place they're talking about data privacy, and the next place the information is going back and forth. The ban is existing, but the ban isn't actually doing anything. It just means that PUBG M is not available in Play Store. You can still download it from the other place, or if your friend has the APK, you can just copy it from him. So such a weird
Are you really surprised
thing.
living in this country for 23 years, 24
I
years?
am just
Are we asking
surprised.
questions
I
like
am
that?
just honestly, I am just surprised at how the government is handling this entire situation. I don't mean it in a bad way. I
No.
don't mean they're doing bad things. I see if I completely understand. In fact, I am completely understand that there's a political thing going around PUBG, right? It's the China and India tension, and it's completely valid that PUBG got banned because of this reason. And to give perspective, China's richest man, which was the Tencent CEO, became the second richest man because of this ban. So there was definitely effects and it was definitely needed, right? But my question is how they're exactly doing the ban, right? Which is they're going back and forth from it. And here's the thing. Um, all the Tencent employees who were handling PUBG Mobile in India basically got hired into PUBG Corp in the country. So they're still there. They're all ready to basically be given the green signal, and they believe that the green signal will come. AFK Gaming's articles seem to point out that they'll get a green signal. They have an ad ready with what is this guy's name? Arshad Wardi. I keep mixing up names. He's a celebrity, but he's like a proper Bollywood celebrity, and then you have PUBG celebrities.
Shivati.
Yes, yes. So ads ready, ad came out, teaser came out, whatnot. There's a lot of things going on behind the background. I'm just curious to see how this will go. I'm just very interested. Apart from the whole PUBG, PS5, which isn't coming out in India, by the way, and Xbox One, Xbox Series X thing going on. PUBG is easily the most interesting thing that's been going this week, I believe.
Yeah, I just feel I'm way too like smaller compared, like when it comes to world politics, right? I think I'm nothing in in whatever these people can plan and think and
Hmm.
execute. I'm like, I just don't even consider myself as a part of this whole system.
We are
Like
tiny
it's
ants. We don't exist to
yeah,
those people. There's
yeah,
some
Yeah, it's
major
like,
gears
and here's
turning
the thing,
behind us.
it's this all of this happened in like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Gaming before 2 years, gaming in India was basically like top gaming was basically gambling and fantasy sports, right? It was never gaming. Like even till 2018, people were talking about how Indian gaming market is a $1 billion industry, but people would fail to mention how a big chunk of that $1 billion industry is basically gambling. If you
Yeah.
count the gambling games as gambling and not gaming, right? Teen Patti and all of these games are counted as games, not as gambling apps, which kind of shows where these things are. But I'm just very interested in all of this. And in 2 years, all of these things are blown up. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to put it out there because Udit said so.
Yeah, but on the topic of PUBG,
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about 4G as well.
Oh, you said you liked the game.
Yeah, no, I didn't say I like the game.
You have
I'll tell you
positive
why.
thoughts about the game.
Yeah, positive thoughts. I'll tell you why I feel so. I saw the recent teaser, which they didn't, exactly show what the game is. It's just the animation, right?
Yeah.
But the second article that came after the first one, when the first one was like the announcement, right, and the second one was mentioning from the I think from the founder of the company Encore, it said that it's not a battle royale game.
Oh, of course, that we knew in the beginning.
It's not a,
yeah.
it's not a, yeah. But in the first announcement, they never said that, right?
No, here's the thing. That's something I knew from day one. And there
okay.
Yeah. So we discussed this on this podcast. So they announced the game, right? And so this guy, what is his name? Vishal Gondal, I think.
Vishal Gondal. Yeah.
So he's apparently a mad marketing guy. He's worked previously, and he's a full. He will take advantage of all the whole nationalism.
I have worked with him.
Okay.
That is where I have the other thought on this one, like the positive thought of this. I'll tell you why I feel that. You know this on day one, but I think 99% of the population of India didn't know.
Oh, of course.
That
4G. I dug deep to get to know this information, right?
So everybody thought that PUBG is gone and 4G is here, right?
Yeah.
The second article said the founder said that it's not a battle royale, it's a brawler game.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to be. And that valley, that's the only scenario that they want to depict, and you play like a strategy kind of right. Now I see a lot of people just talking bullshit about the game even before seeing the game, even before experiencing the game or whatever. On the other hand, I know Vishal Gondal very well because I used to work with him back in 2007 at India Games. He was the founder of India Games, right? He was a founder. He's a like you said, he's a mad marketing guy, and he used the opportunity very well. Maybe they fucked up over there by just hammering it at that time. But for him, PR is PR, right? It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It's PR. Everybody started talking about it, and that was the objective.
Oh yeah. I agree. So, like, let me just say this: like, PR at the end of the day for a lot of corporate people at high places, PR is PR. It's like that's the saying goes. Bad PR, positive PR. It's PR at the end of the day. If 1 million people get to know about your game, at least 100K of them will click on download and try it. That's the basic idea of how it goes. And if he's getting that 100K downloads, he's sorted. His work is done, right? From his perspective, his work is done. But here is where I do not expect anything out of that game. Not because, again, I don't have any connections with Vishal Gondal. I am seeing this as a very hardcore gamer who has just played games most of my life, and just saying this announcement which came out as soon as PUBG got banned. It's like literally rhyming with the word PUBG, and then you put 4G. And my most cringy moment about this entire thing wasn't even the name rhyme. It was the fact that it was a stock picture.
The donation?
No, it was the fact that it was a stock picture. And in the stock picture, you put in this Indian emblem, and then come on, you guys are a studio, you can't make like a single concept art. Are you telling me you can't make a single concept? Come on, you. No, that's where like you got me. Okay, see, if they came out with at least a concept art that was original, if they came out, and I understand it's a 5v5 brawler that's happening in the Guaycan Valley, I think. I again don't know how to pronounce it, but basically in that place you aren't allowed to use any weapons like firing pistols or whatever.
Yeah,
You're only
yeah,
allowed to use melee stuff, and
yeah.
that's an actual thing that's been happening since some decades now, right? So the entire game is based around that. It's fine, but if they genuinely wanted to show a game, and if they genuinely had an idea, I think they would follow what every other indie or studio does, which is just talk about the game, not about Akshay Kumar.
No. That's
Fauji.
that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I just wanted to point out specifically, that it was not planned. For me, it was never planned, right? PUBG ban, like
They
today,
took the
like nobody.
advantage.
Yeah, like so this is what can ideally happen, right? A phone call, a conference can happen in the morning, just when the news is out that PUBG is banned. A conference can happen immediately, be getting people involved and just picking up the stock photo and just releasing it. This is
Right.
what can happen. If it was planned, right? If it was planned, they were smart enough to. It's a company, right? It's a company. It's a studio. They're smart enough to build at least some artwork
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
put it out on a day
But
when
come
PUBG.
on,
I
like
think I
they
agree with you on that, because I think even on the podcast last time I said it, right? That the fact that they use stock and stuff pretty much tells that this was probably a last minute decision to capitalize on the news rather than something
Exactly.
that was planned,
I
right?
completely
Exactly.
understand. I completely agree and understand. But that's exactly why I do not expect anything, right? If your main idea is to, and I get it, you will get the 100K or 500K downloads or user base. And I'm sure the game app, when it comes out, will get enough downloads to make money and justify itself. All of the PR campaigns that it's already done to get, it will be justified in a single week. And I agree. But do I have any expectations as a gamer? No, I'm afraid not. Like I it's the way how I expect something from Cyberpunk or something I expect from Raji. I have zero expectations in something like 4G, just from the name. Just from, again, I worked with artists. I've worked with a lot of artists. Fortunately, some of them are brilliant. Uh, Come on, they have even, I have friends who've worked with stock photos. The end result does not look like the first stock photo. Like they put a tint on it. They didn't do anything. Okay, I understand you can have your conferences in the morning. Just put some effort. Come on, guys. Like just 5 hours kind of effort.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
for
So
that.
like what I had to say on this one is, obviously no expectations for sure.
Hmm.
Okay, no expectations from the game at all. But the graph and the background of this guy who is
Hmm.
connected to the studio, somewhere I feel that this guy has super potential to make it big. This is the only reason. Like
Hmm.
if you ask me anything about Vishal Gondal, I think he has the ability, he has all sorts of help and network in the world to make the game big,
Hmm.
provided that the actual core gameplay is fun that we haven't yet seen.
Yeah.
My only thought on this whole thing is, to everybody who is just talking bullshit about it,
Hmm.
just wait and see what is coming out. That is it. But obviously no expectations, but I personally feel that the coming version might be as bad as anything, but this man has potential to make it big. That is
Hmm.
where I have some belief that, because it's like from India, just try and support it.
Hmm.
That's what I tell people. That is it. Not talking bullshit about it
Hmm.
way before you see the actual stuff.
Hmm.
And a
So
lot of people, the problem is a lot of people don't know Vishal Gondal at all. For
Mhm.
me, like I'll tell you, this might be like over the board, but a lot of people don't know Vishal Gondal. For me, he's one of the most important pillars of the Indian gaming development scenario in India,
Mhm.
because he along with like Nitish from Nazara, or Rajesh Rao from Dhruva,
Mhm.
and Vishal Gondal from India Games. These
Mhm.
are the three important main huge companies which were started in 97, 98, 99. And I
Mhm.
think they built the game development employment system, I can say. These are the people who started it stuff, right? This stuff, right? Some some guy, this is very funny, man. I don't understand what has happened to this generation, man. IGDC के group पे, yeah, on something like I remember, I don't remember, I think it was the LinkedIn profile of Vishal Gondal himself putting out Fauji ka article,
Mhm.
Fauji ka information, and a kid, 15-year-old kid, replying Vishal Gondal on his post, on his page, saying you're scamming us. Like all abuse, like completely abusing Vishal Gondal on
Mhm.
his page. Dude,
I
what is
mean, I
happening, man?
mean, I mean that's what
You
happens.
took you
Like,
took PUBG from us. You took PUBG from us, and you gave this shit to us.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think Vishal Gondal was
15-year-old.
the guy responsible for banning PUBG Mobile. Just saying. Anyway, I think we are running out of time, so I think we are just one personal rant, and then we'll discuss about video games, what we're playing. But I think that's about PUBG and 4G. I will keep an eye out on 4G for sure. I don't really have anything to talk about the recent trailer because they didn't really show any gameplay. It's just
Yeah,
like it's like still CGI. It's like more along the lines of what the game graphic would look like, I guess. But it's still like CGI, not gameplay, nothing. Does not look like in-engine stuff either. So yeah, let's see what's up with that game. Otherwise, yeah, let's. I want to talk about this topic, which is I tried to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla this week and I couldn't because UB Plus is absolute nonsense. So what's going on over there? Everyone who's
What's
been
going on
following my
over there is Aman is so frustrated he hijacked a Ubisoft Montreal studio.
that was a hoax. No one can say anything on me. I like yeah, no proof yet. But what happened is this is all real, and I have all the proof with me. And fortunately, before I start all of this, one of my friends who works at Ubisoft India Studios did get in touch with me and is trying to sort this issue out for me, but it hasn't sorted out. I'll just put that out there. But what happened? So a lot of you might know UB Plus is basically Ubisoft's subscription system where you can play all Ubisoft games for a month for the subscription period, and you pay a stipend of 15 euros per month for this all of this. I bought the subscription because I thought I would play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then if I end up with Valhalla, I'll probably play Watch Dogs Legion, and that will be enough for the month of November as I wait for Cyberpunk. That was my entire idea. I bought the subscription. I downloaded the game over 2 hours. The game allowed me to told me at 30% download, you play. Okay, you don't have to download the full game. You start playing. I was like, no, I'll download the full game and I play. I downloaded the full game and then I go in SSD, everything's ready. It's still downloaded on my PC. I'm still expecting. There's still that hope. So I start trying to click on the game and I see the play button is grayed out. I'm like, wait, what happened? UB Plus account has been suspended. Wait, what happened? Right. I go back. I apparently see my payment has failed. Then I'm like, okay, this is possible because I've had similar issues in my credit card before. I go and check
But how
my
does? But here's the question: how like your payment fails, but you are allowed to download the game?
my I'll get to that. I'll get to that. This is the thing. I check my bank account. I see my money
Right.
has been deducted, 15 euros exactly. Right. So I'm like, okay, the payment definitely hasn't failed from my bank side. It went. Right. Then I find out this invoice. There's lots of Ubisoft account by everywhere things are hidden, right? You have to go to account settings, invoice billing, then you will find the actual invoice of this purchase. I found that invoice. My money was cut and invoice was sent by Ubisoft saying that, look, your money has been cut. This is the amount we charged you. Now I'm like, okay, if I have the invoice, the money was cut, it's not a failure. And then again, going back to Udit's question, yes, my subscription was activated for 2 hours and then it was deactivated. So the payment went through, my subscription activated, and then after 2 hours, it was disconnected. I think I was suspended rather. So I went on to go and file a support ticket. I'm like, this is the Ubisoft and MNC, 6,000 employees throughout the world and all that. Right. I'll support a ticket. I'll hopefully get a reply. I initially file a ticket in the Indian site, right? And I'm like, this is the Indian site. Kuch nahi hone wala. I file a secondary ticket in the US site. So this is an international product, right? It's not something that's specific to region. So I'm like, okay. So Indian, as I said, kuch nahi hone wala. They never replied in that ticket. Just saying. No reply. The US one at least went through. It went through a live chat because I was like, I wanted the live chat feature, and this was at 1 a.m. at night. So obviously India mein live chat bhi nahi rahega. I did the live chat. This guy called Donnie from Ubisoft support tells me that my subscription expired in November 9th. I'm like, what? I bought it on November 9th. Then I'm more confused. Like, what is he saying? Okay. And tell him, did I buy a 1-day subscription? What's going on? And that conversation is on Reddit, on forum post that I made, a lot of things. And I'll put the description in the forum post ka description, maybe link. But yeah, so I asked this guy, what's happening? He then tells me, don't worry, I will help you out. You cut the call, I will immediately transfer you to e-commerce support. I cut the call. It's been 5 days since I cut the call. I have not been immediately transferred to e-commerce support. And there has been no response in that ticket till now. And then I got frustrated because I'm like, listen, this is launch day. I paid. The game is literally downloaded on my PC, on my SSD, ready to play. Just let me play the game. I give you my money as well. Then I go and finally I put it on Reddit. I put it on forum. And then when I put it on forum, I notice that it has been happening for almost a week. Apparently, UB Plus. And this is not just me. A lot of
others.
Yes,
for others.
It's a plague basically. It's like coronavirus. Everyone in Ubisoft with an account, every third person in the Ubisoft with trying to buy UB Plus is getting affected by this. Because if you go right now after this podcast, or when you're seeing this podcast, just go to the Ubisoft forum. I'll put the link in the description. Go there and see. Okay, just scroll down. 70% are just about this. That I bought UB Plus subscription. It got suspended after 2 hours. I can't play my games. And when I tried to change my card because it said payment failure, Ubisoft charged me twice. Thank God I didn't. Thank God I didn't change my card. Okay, so all of this shit is going. I haven't been able to play Valhalla launch, obviously, because all of that. I still haven't gotten my 15 euros back. Fortunately, like I said, someone from Ubisoft India Studios, whom I knew from long back, again, it's a personal network, reached out to me because he saw me complaining. So I was complaining everywhere. And I literally mean everywhere. I mean Reddit, forums, Twitter, my personal wall, different groups, and on the Ubisoft India page. Ubisoft India page is wishing people for Diwali and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm like, sir, I can't play Assassin's Creed Valhalla with UB Plus. So this guy, he handles social media and marketing. He saw my comment. He's like, listen, no worries, I will try to help you out. So that's where I am at. He told me, he's been very nice. Fortunately, he's got in touch, but nothing moved. I still don't have any hopes of getting that 15 euros. And I actually have zero hopes of getting that 15 euros because when you buy the subscription, you have to specifically tick mark a place where you say, I will not get my money refunded. Okay. I'm paraphrasing. But that's a specific. Apart from the terms and conditions, there's a specific tick mark
We
that's
told
missing.
you. We told you.
We got your money, bitch. Like,
So you like you can check. You don't have to buy. Go and check the UV Plus Khatir. There's a specific tick mark. Okay, when I say this. And so I have zero hope of getting my money back, honestly. Because of that, I have zero hope of getting my money back. And because of that, I'm like, please just let me play for 15 days. I'm fine. $1 each day, €1 each day.
The US and India team might be तू कर ले यार तू कर ले तू solve कर दे इसका.
So from what I understand, okay, what I did not add to all of this is that 3 days ago, a friend also messaged me. I'll just find that out. Yeah, sorry for that. But a friend also messaged me saying that this entire issue has been happening for over a year.
my God.
So there are forum posts. He linked me a forum post from a year back about the same thing.
This is open theft.
So that's where we are at. There's nothing to discuss here. I just wanted to mention because this is the only place I can be public about it. I'll probably clip it and put it on my Instagram. But yeah, don't buy UV Plus subscription right now if you want to play Ubisoft games. Bad idea. Horrible idea.
As with all the, again, as like they say, right? Ubisoft has stopped making games; they're making products now. So this is just another product, and as with any Ubisoft product, it's filled with their classic bugs and
It's payment bugs. I gave you my money. Give me the bugs also. Just give anything. They won't let me start the software.
Ubisoft is filled with bugs, man.
They won't let me start software. I mean, we've all heard of scary scenarios of your Netflix account, right? And your Microsoft Xbox subscription, and they say you don't own your things. You're just subscribing, and it's a bad idea. This is what they mean. Like, this is the worst case scenario. So yeah.
Also this support system looks like my local broadband services.
Oh my god. Yeah, it reminded me of complete local. I did not expect this from Ubisoft and not from US side at all. That entire chat was like, what the hell? But yeah, that's about it. When that guy said, my subscription ended on November 9th, I was like, what? So yeah. Anyway, I think we'll just end the podcast in like the next 5 minutes. So I'll just ask you, Vaibhav, what games are you playing this right now? So tell us, and then we'll go to Udit and ask him the same questions.
So I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC right now. I missed it when it came, so that's what I'm playing right now.
Right. Nothing else. Nothing's more Red Dead Redemption.
No,
interesting.
No, I mean that's just something that I'm when I get time I'm playing it, or let's say every day I just figure out some time to play that game.
Right.
Apart from that, it's just the work related stuff, the games that we need to play. Like right now we are working on hyper casual games, right? So it's every morning it's like 10, 15, 20 games every morning, pick up from app stores which are doing good in the top charts, and we're just playing those games to understand the mechanics and stuff. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else.
Are you like a Valorant player or like a pro CS player?
I'm a CS player, but I'm not like
no Valorant.
No, I haven't even tried it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
get into it then.
I don't know. For some reason I don't relate a lot to the art style of it.
Okay.
Like it's too like if you have played Overwatch, you might probably like it a lot. Overwatch or say Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like
it's
CS,
like a mix of Overwatch and CS:GO. It brings in the realism, but it also brings in the artistic styles, like color palette, I would say, of Overwatch.
Yeah.
It's very striking.
So I think that is something which I'm not really keen, because of which I'm not really keen to play.
Right. What are you playing, Udit?
So I finished Miles Morales.
Oh, how
uh,
was that?
which was a good, right? Again, if people have to say, is it worth the 4,000 rupees buy? It is not. Me
Really?
as a Spider-Man fan is going to tell you, because it's a, when people see the content, they obviously want a lot of content, right? So the
Right.
story is 10 hours,
Mm.
right? And there's a short, there's a lot of activities to do. The swinging, the open world is still as beautiful as ever, but if you think you're going to get your money's worth, probably not. Wait for it to go down a little bit.
Mhm.
But as an experience, as the 10-hour experience, still solid, right?
Mm.
It ends on a very heartwarming note, right? Which, where Miles Morales grows into Harlem Spider-Man, right?
And is it like there's like a sequel, like cliffhanger or anything like
Yeah,
that?
it's setting up a sequel. It is setting up Spider-Man 2, which
Okay.
is continuing Peter's story. But now Miles Morales is also going to be playing a more active part, right? It
Okay.
sets up the ending, picks up the ending of the original game, which
Mm.
had a cliffhanger.
Mm.
I don't want to spoil it, because, but those who few who know, like there was a post-credit scene involving a certain character, and it ends. This thing ends on the same thing, right?
Mm.
Uh,
From a
and
different
but the
perspective.
Yeah, but
Mm.
the best takeaway here is how well the dynamic between Miles Morales and Peter works, right?
Yeah.
And how you see these two completely feel like a tag team, and now you just want them together as a team. Like, before, it was always, even though there was a, with superheroes, it was like, hey, Spider-Man, you just think of Peter Parker. Batman, you just think of Bruce Wayne, right? I think what Insomniac and what uh, the Spider Verse have done very well is they've established Miles Morales as such a strong character that whenever you think Spider Man, you want this as a team. Like, you want Peter and Miles together. Like, they
Mm.
work so well together as a
Do you
team.
think do you think they're setting up for something like a Spider-Verse?
Spider Verse is a
I
little
mean, there's
far fetched, but
already two Spider-Man.
yeah, there are two Spider Man. I don't think the next game is going to be in the Spider Verse, but the next game I do expect there to be co op between
Wow.
these two Spider-Men,
Okay.
right? Like, between Miles Morales and Peter will both be playable, right? And
Mm.
probably you can probably do co-op or something like that, something really exciting, or some, or
Mm.
switch between the two characters on the fly.
Mm.
Spider-Verse is a wishful thinking, but they're tackling similar technology with Ratchet and Clank, so that might not be hard. They've also mimicked the Spider-Verse suit animation perfectly. I played the entire game with the Spider-Verse suit. It is what the mystics of the East would call kimochi. It plays really well. The animation, I can't get that. The best part is how well Miles Morales' powers make him feel very different. So Miles Morales can go invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Morales also has the Venom Strike,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Electricity.
That, when combined with this roster of tech gadgets, which are very different from Peter Parker's.
Mm.
You get these you get these things where you can just cause a shock around people. You can get these holographic images to tackle people. So they play so differently. Miles Morales, Spider, because he had different, more abilities, he has a little more abilities than Peter Parker. But so it might feel like he's more overpowered, but he can only go to level 20. There was just a level 20 cap on him, whereas Peter has level 50, right? So that way they balance out. I'm interested to see how this progresses. And the
Nice.
second game I'm playing was me craving, after Spider-Man, because I love the traversal so much, right? I was craving more of the same. So I went to the classics. I played this game called Jet Set Radio, right? Which
Mm.
is a game from 2000s, and it is one of the most unique games. It's on Steam. It is one of the most unique games you'll play. It is the concept is you are a skating gang, and there are three skating gangs in Tokyo. It's a Tokyo New York hybrid, and you're just tagging places. You're just like making graffiti all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and there's cops chasing you because you're basically a vandal, right? And all throughout, and the basic thing is, because collision detecting would be such a hard thing, the grind aspect of it is what drives the gameplay. Grinding is where you are basically skating on the street, on the rails,
I
and
think I've played that game. I
Jet
feel
Set
like I've
Radio.
played the game. It sounds
You
very
must have seen it.
familiar.
It's a very iconic cult game. because the aesthetic of it is completely stylistic, in the anime style. It has a very unique art style, but most impressively, it has a soundtrack that still to this day I think is nobody else has gotten as groovy. Not even Persona 5
Mm-hmm.
has a soundtrack as groovy as Jet Set Radio. The soundtrack really makes the game, really pumps you up. Jet Set Radio on Steam, more people should play that game. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
masterpiece. It has a lot of bugs and glitches, but I will say that there is no other game like it. Not even Sunset Overdrive gives me this kind of feeling that Jet Set Radio provides.
Right. Right.
Yes.
I have just played like Frostpunk again because I couldn't play Valhalla.
What are you doing, by the way, for November then? If the UB
I'm
plus
just like
plan
I'm
is
just angrily playing Valorant now. I mean, I generally just angrily play Valorant, but now I'm angrily playing I'm angry at Ubisoft, not the game. Like, before I was like angry at the game and playing it. Now I'm yeah. But yeah, I wish I got to play Valorant. That's only just me going to be whining for the next 1-2 weeks till I get to play that game. But otherwise, I haven't been playing anything. I was very excited for Valhalla. I'm very disappointed I couldn't play it. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for the day. We took quite a bit of time for this episode. It's been 1 hour 45 minutes. Not bad. Thank you, Vaibhav, for joining and sharing your story today with us in the episode. For the viewers who are watching, we are on Spotify now, so do follow us over there. I'll set the link somewhere in the description. And yeah, like and subscribe and all of that. Vaibhav, do you have anything else to say to our viewers? There's like 10
it
people
was
watching.
it was damn fun. Yeah, do subscribe to the channel, guys.
Yeah,
please.
and that reminds me, Vaibhav himself, like I said in the beginning, has a YouTube channel. I would be putting a link out there. I will also put like small box somewhere in the screen here so that you can have an easier access. He makes a lot of interesting game development related videos and such. So check those out as well. And Udit, anything else? Or are you going to now go
No,
just sleep?
go fall asleep. Fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
The effects are coming hard strong to me.
Anyway, I think that's it for the day. Thank you for watching. See you guys next week. Thank you. See ya.
Thank you.